What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Leveled Up Life podcast. It's Branamier, Courtney here with Paul McClain.
My man.
Helping people level up their life in all the areas that matter most: faith, family, fitness, finance, and franchise. We're excited to be here again each and every week, doing our best to bring you value, encouragement, motivation, talking about our stories, what we've done, what we haven't done, the mistakes we've made, trying to help you get to the place where we feel like God's called you to be. There's another level inside of you. And so do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know you're watching. Let us know this is helping. Share this with somebody. Listen, if you love people, Paul always says, if you love them, share it with them. Don't be selfish. And so, Paul, man, every single week we say the same thing. We're so encouraged to be here with each other. Yeah. Every single week we step out of this little studio, with I know at least I do, just like think, man, I got to get better in these certain areas. I always leave with like homework, right? Yeah. It's like every conference, everything that we do, man, you want something to take away. It's not just encouragement or like entertainment, like mindless entertainment, but it's like, man, I took something away from that, a podcast, that sermon, that conference, that's going to actually make me a better person. That's the heart behind this podcast. So every single week, man, you do that for me. So I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, dude. Well, I mean, heck, today we got an unbelievable guest.
Let's go.
We're both going to get poured
Let's
into.
Go.
And I've had the privilege really over the last, I guess, a couple of years, but more so the last, I'd probably say the last 7-8 weeks where I had a chance to really get to know you, Gabe. And guys, just so you know, let me give some background to Gabe so you know who's speaking to you guys this morning. I mean, this is somebody that he's just got the heart of Jesus, wants to go after the kingdom of God, has done some great things, built orphanages, gave his life for a long period of time to ministry full time, and then got into business and has really used his business as his ministry. Now his business is exploding. I get to be a partner with you in Pinnacle, which has been a blessing, man. That's a whole side note. If you're looking to get into business, you're like, man, I want to get into business. Get into business with people that are cut from the same cloth, that have the same values, missions, visions that you've got. And like I said, that's the truth for me with you. But you've done a phenomenal job leading Pinnacle for the last couple of years. It's no doubt one of the fastest growing, if not, it is the fastest growing IMO, bar none, in the nation. The numbers that it's hitting, it'll be 75 million in issue paid volume this year, which that number is great. But what we'll unpack today is really what's behind that number. Like when you hear that number, you're like, that's great. But what's great is how many people's lives are impacted financially because of that number. Yeah. What people like you that are equipped and wanting to go after and serve and build the kingdom of God, what they're doing with that money. That's what gets me excited about those numbers, is not the fact like, wow, that sounds great. When somebody's like, man, I made $1 million. It's like, great. Well, what does that even mean? Like, how many people did you help? How many people did you serve? Are you talking about the people? And then what did you do with that $1 million? And so, man, thank you for being on today. Excited to have you on, brother.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that intro. And I mean, just glory to God, man. It's been a great journey, and it's a lot of fun.
So real quick, when Paul invited you to California, you thought it was going to be like beaches, sand, palm trees.
And out to the desert.
Yeah. We brought you out to
Let me introduce you to the worst part.
Shout out to all of our listeners in the high desert. But you're staying in the lake house.
It's honestly gorgeous. It's really nice.
Here's what I do know: the high desert is better with you in it, man. So just having you here yesterday, when you said you're from Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. Born and raised Chicago.
No, Midwest, Ohio, then Indiana, Chicagoland. So
gotcha. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your story, because I just met you yesterday. Obviously, Paul's gotten to know you over the last couple months. Mm-hmm. Kind of had you. I'm in ministry, also run a business myself, and so I love to hear people's stories that run their ministry with a kingdom purpose, right? Yeah. And so, because it's one thing to have a business and make money for yourself, but it's fleeting. Like if everything's about you. Man, I mean, that's great for you, I guess. Mm-hmm. But for me, man, and Paul the same, we want to make an impact for not just our families, but the families what we're serving, the people that we do life with. And so tell me a little bit how, you came up getting to know the Lord, right? Fall in love with Christ, but then also running a massive business. Like, how do you intertwine the two at such a massive scale, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been quite a journey. I mean, I'd say, so I was actually born out here in California, and then my mom moved to Ohio. She was originally from there when I was like 1 year old. Okay. And so raised up my entire childhood in Ohio. Just me and my mom, kind of a low income inner city situation. And, definitely got into some wrong groups, wrong habits at that age. And then there was a local church that had like a program that buses come out, pick up kids from those areas for all the kids come. They might have a big day where everybody gets, like a cookie or, takes them to the Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. And so I started coming when I was like 9, immediately got kicked off. I think they were giving out like oatmeal pies, and another kid had one. I thought I should have 2, so I punched him, and they're like, "You can't come."
That's funny.
Anymore. But the local, the choir director and his wife from the church, who originally invited me, really took a shine. Once I got kicked off, they're like, well, it's it's a 5-10 minute drive. We'll pick you up in our car, and him and his wife and their kids picked me up and would take me. And they probably bribed me to do it. I'm like, I don't want to go to church. Like, hey, we'll stop by for any Ohio people listening, United Dairy Farmers. Like, they're like, get some ice cream or some chips. And so that worked. And on and off, I would be involved. And 15, they invited me to a kind of like a youth conference down in Texas. And I went. I didn't have the money to go, and then the guy and his wife gave me the money. Wow. Very kind, generous people. And at that, like, God really got a hold of my heart for like the first time, and I started thinking about what I was going to do with my life. I dedicated my life to Christ at 15, and then they're like, well, hey, we have a Christian school. Same thing. Didn't have money for it. It was fairly expensive, private school, and they're like, well, we'll pay and just help around the church. And so I would, at the end of each day, sweep and mop, and that's how I paid my school bill. Wow. And a lot of the people I looked up to had gone to a very small seminary college in Indiana, right outside Chicago. And so I decided, I think that's where I should go. And got involved in an inner city youth program where they bring thousands of kids to church on a weekly basis. And I really I love that. Like, I think that as a young man, that was the first thing. I think everybody finds that thing where it's like, whether or not it be sports or something they just feel like they're good at. Yeah. And that was like, it was a completely volunteer ministry. And so you'd have to, recruit college workers to go do that with you. I'd be like, oh, Paul, join my bus around. This guy's like, oh, no, join mine. And so it was competitive. And if you weren't good at it, you just alone on the weekends, and it sucked. And I got good at like recruiting like people. And I see now, like, that was God giving me a skill set that I would use later. At that time, I thought, this is just, people would have varying levels of how serious they took that ministry. Right. But coming from the inner city, like, it was a big deal to me. And like, I have some friendships now, like people that I met. Like, I think you got to meet Adrian, my assistant. Like, I met him when he was 7. Wow. And, as a kid in that program, today we're still great friends. He works with me in the business. And I thought I was going to be a missionary, and I got my degree in practical theology. I went to Ghana, West Africa at the beginning of my master's, spent some time with a group of missionaries. And, you talk about a level up life. Like, I think at that point in my life, I started to have like a little bit of identity crisis, because I felt like that wasn't what God wanted me to do, like full-time ministry at that point, which that had been how my whole life was leaning. And also, I just had some character issues. Like, I just needed to, for lack of a better term, level up. And I was really searching for a little bit, like, what would be that avenue? Like, what does God want me to do? Well, while I was there, I was just sharing this story with you a little bit ago. I was with the missionaries. They're like, hey, a few years ago, we went to some of the local orphanages. I was in a city called Kumasi with like 3 million people. They're like, there's 6 orphanages. We went to all of them, gave them some presents. And I was like, okay, great. Like, I'd love to do that. And so we went, and I saw just not good conditions for the kids. And as I was leaving, I asked the pastor, I was like, have you ever thought about having an orphanage like yourself for the church here? It was a good-sized church. And he's like, you're talking to a guy who lives off $15,000 a year sacrificially to live on the other side of the planet and do this for folks. And he's like, I just don't know where to get the money for that. And that was in 2017. And right at the beginning of 2020, I got into the broker space of insurance. And my second week, I had a really good week, and I made some good money. And I was like, I think I can do it. Like, and I got a hold of him. I'm like, how much would it be? Like, let's get real numbers on paper, like what it would be. And we thought we could do it for about 50 grand. And that year we started the first orphanage. And then the next year I went and I visited it, and once I saw that, it was like, I'm trying to put it the right way to say it without talking too much. I really enjoyed that inner city youth program. I really enjoyed it. I mean, there'd be days you're getting up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday, go warm up a freezing cold bus. If you know what winters are like in the Midwest, it's like -20. You literally have to like do a spray on the engine to get it started up, to warm up the bus, pick up the college students, go out to Chicago. But I loved it. When I started my first couple years in business, I did not love it. I was full of purpose. Like, I knew this is what God wanted me to do. And I was scared that I wouldn't have the same joy in my work. But I was like, well, life isn't always about being happy. So I'm like, let me just put in the effort to do this because I feel like it's going to be worth it. And I remember stepping foot on that first orphanage and just like the wave of emotion, just seeing the kids, hearing their stories. I took some really good friends with me that had been a part of that college ministry. One of the guys that had been a kid, and grown up, and now he's an adult making this trip with me. And I was just like, man, God really did something special, and like how he set this up. And I've been, going down that path ever since. We're working on 2 orphanages right now. Once those are complete, we'll have 7, and on our way to 100.
Unbelievable.
So good. I mean, heck, there's like 19 different points that could be unpacked in that. And I mean, I'm just sitting here taking it in, dude, like reflecting, just like on my life, dude, and like what really matters and how God works all things into a story when you give it to him. It's like, think about like even that one person that you're talking about that just like kind of gave you a shot, that saw something in you, and just through one act of generosity and kindness. Like, do you still have a relationship with him?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, dude, what a feeling that they probably have, kind of like when you walked into that orphanage, right? When they hear the story of what you did, knowing that they were just obedient to what I would say is probably God's nudge at the time, like, hey, just help this little boy out, give him a shot, get him there, and then just continuing to pursue you. Yeah. And when you didn't necessarily deserve maybe being pursued. And
no, I mean, let me add something to that too. I was a horrible student. Like, he'd be like, dude, I'm paying several grand a year for go to school. Can you not get Fs? Yeah. And, they just saw something. They kept doing it. And, I mean, well, I'm really grateful.
I love that point, too, though.
I know. It makes it even better.
They're like, bro, you can't be dropping Fs in high school. Like, we're paying $2 grand.
Yeah. Because to that point, dude, like, they could have sat back and said, like, well, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. He's not taking it serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not stewarding this blessing.
Yeah.
And what they realize is that, dude, maybe that blessing wasn't the schooling, the A's. Mm-hmm. The blessing was just putting you in that environment where you're exposed to the Word of God, and that even though it didn't show its fruits then, that eventually that seed, through due time in a process, was going to be watered and highlighted and spotlighted and produced the orphanage now and what you're doing with your life. And so, I mean, to me, it's like this reflection of like, man, everything matters. Yeah. Like, there's a ripple effect to everything. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times our joy is stolen because we're so focused on seeing the fruits of what we're doing immediately and asking ourselves, does what we do even matter? Yeah. And because it's probably easy for the family that helped you and all that, say, like, does this even really matter? Does it? I mean, I don't know. It might or might not. But I feel like, to me, I'm just sitting here thinking, like how well am I stewarding everything in my life as if it really does matter? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because even the conversations I have with the agents that I'm working with, I might not realize, and I just might go from my feelings or what makes sense and not be intentional with knowing, like, even the words I'm saying in every conversation, that could be a word that they, in 7 years, look back on and say, it was this word in this time, this kindness, this truth and love, this challenge that I got from Paul that made all the difference in the world. But if I'm not intentionally pursuing it as if it matters, I'll probably miss it. Yeah. I mean, that's just my reflection as you're talking, like how crazy God worked all those things into your life, and now it's got such a massive impact on so many others.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I feel like something God has, like, I think this is true for everybody, but I feel like it's been much more apparent in my life than, I don't think I realized this until a few years ago. That is maybe more than typical. Like, I feel like many of the greatest things of my life that I enjoy the most today didn't start out great.
Yeah.
Like, some of my greatest friendships are people that I did not get along with at the beginning. You know, some of, like, even the inner city youth program, like, after a year, like, I was not doing well. Like, I was like, man, I suck at this. I was like, I'm just not good. I was like, maybe this isn't for me. And then I was like, no, I was like, it's worth it. I should really stick with it. And then, like, I loved it so much at the point, like, I was like heartbroken to leave. And the same thing with the insurance business. First couple of years, like, things were, you know, going well on paper, but as far as like my enjoyment level, I'm like, dude, I'll never love this like I loved this before. And now my eyes have just opened, and it's
What
like,
changed though? What caused that shift, do you think, to happen from like having to endure it to actually enjoy it, right? Like, what caused that shift in both of those environments, from the inner city to, you know, doing the, you know, the missions work to the insurance work? Like,
I think it's two main things. I think one of the biggest things, because the next thing I'm going to say is growth, but the thing that I think inspires that growth is like being validated, seeing that your work is worth it. Like, for me, stepping foot on that first orphanage, and that wasn't the only thing. I remember one of my best friends I actually went to college with got into insurance. First couple months were not going well. I told him to quit out of just like love. I'm like, dude, like, this is not working out. Insurance is still going to be here. He had like just had his second kid, and he was juggling 2 jobs. He was an assistant pastor at his church, and he's like, dude, nothing is going well. Like, I'm not mad. I was like, bro, just quit insurance. He came back. He talked to his wife a few days later. He's like, yeah, I talked. I want to quit the other stuff, and I'm going to do this. I'm just going to be assistant pastor and do insurance. And I was like, that's not what I told you to do. Yeah. And, you know, 3 months later, he told me, no, that's not true. About 6 months later, he walked into the bank and paid off all the debt that had been pressuring him so much. And he called me and he told me. And, you know, I was just overwhelmed by that situation. I didn't understand the impact. And then that orphanage, just seeing that, and then seeing the friendships that I was building, and then also the personal growth too. Like, because I think a big part of personal growth is vision. Like, it has been for me, like, seeing what God could use me to do, seeing what I was actually capable of doing, because I would be like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. And then as I grew and my vision grew for what I was actually capable of doing, like, it would completely change my heart and my mind, because I'm like, this is worth it. I can do this. And that would change things for me.
Well, I think so much of life has to do with how you see yourself, right? And so you mentioned, you know, well, you're 35 now, so we're talking 6-7 years ago, maybe, when you said, I was kind of going through like a little identity, like, who am I? Am I called to do this? Am I called to do something different? Like, maybe talk to the person who's, you know, in their late 20s, who's done something for a period of time, because that was sort of me too. Like, I had got an insurance with Paul like maybe 15 years ago, whenever that was. Did that for a little bit, started my own business. So really just trying to figure out who I am as a person. And when you're not really sure who you are, man, it's hard to be 100% in on anything, right? And so I think there's a lot of people now that have such, because you can see everyone's highlight reel, right? So you look at insurance, you're like, man, I'm doing this, I should be going to do that. When in reality, like, wherever you're 100% in on typically tends to thrive. But I think so many people are just like halfway in on everything. Yeah. And so maybe talk about how you made the transition from being a missionary to insurance, and maybe there was still some identity, because you're like, well, I didn't really have purpose in it then, but you found purpose in it by the thing that you actually love, and then purpose grew as you gave your work an identity, right? Yeah. And so talk to someone who's maybe in a career or in a job or some place that they don't like, because I always teach, like, man, the scripture says do everything unto the Lord, and then your work becomes your ministry. But that's much easier said than done, right? So talk to someone who's maybe struggling with their work or purpose. Like, how do they get out of that funk and maybe find value in the thing that they're doing, even though they don't enjoy it right away.
Yeah, I think the number one thing I would say, and for anybody who might not like have a relationship with God or wouldn't consider them a religious person, like I'm saying this just genuinely from my own experience.
Yeah.
Like God really was the guiding light through that time, because I was always trying to make decisions based off the biblical principles I knew and what I strongly felt and prayed that God wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it didn't always validate me in the moment. Like I would still wonder, but looking back, like, and it's crazy coming from the upbringing that I did. And like, I love my mom. She did a great job. My mom was sick for most of my childhood. I was one of those guys who I had to learn character that I probably should have learned at like 14, 15. I was learning at 21, 22 to like wake up on time, get to class, not flunk out of classes, work hard every day at work, be consistent. You know, I got into sales, have one great day, and then I wouldn't work the next 2 days. Like those were lessons I was learning as a young man. Even with all that, I honestly can't look at a period of my life where it's like, oh man, those years were like wasted. Like I feel like because I kept God as my North Star, he was always guiding me to something that was worthwhile and like worth my time, and I was growing wherever I was.
Very good.
And so, like, I mean, it was been impossible to say this in the moment, but looking back, it looks so clear. Like every transition is so clean in retrospect. Like, and obviously, you know, 3 to 6 months in the moment feels like a long time.
Yeah.
But when you look back, you're like, well, that's nothing. Like me, that transitional period between working really hard in insurance and not being gratified and then getting the gratification might have been like a year and a half. And the whole time I'm just like, well, I mean, this is a great thing to do. This is the greatest thing that I can think I could be doing right now. And I mean, I put in all this hard work. Let me just see it through. And then I got really rewarded at the end. And I mean, I got to give God all the honor and glory for that, because it's not a plan I could have made for myself. So that's the biggest thing I would say, because I see a lot of people, the Bible says don't grow weary in well-doing. I see a lot of people do that to where they're not getting that validation right then, and they're chasing the feeling of being validated. And man, you're on a rough path when you do that, because even this, I love that. Like I truly love it and enjoy it, but I don't wake up every day just like full of the feeling that like some days are just like let's go. It's just another day. Let's do it. And then I'll cap it with this, and this is it probably is a biblical principle, but said this way, I heard from an Olympic athlete who was training. And she was just having a rough time, and she golded that year right before she went. And she's talking to her trainer, like, oh man, I don't feel good about this. And she's like, well, it's a 3-3-3 rule. And she's like, well, what's that? He's like, well, you're supposed to feel good 30%, 33% of the time. You're supposed to feel bad 33% of the time. You're supposed to feel okay 33% of the time. And like, so as long as that's like balancing out, like everything is normal. And I think people feel like they should always feel good the whole time, and if they're not, something's wrong. And I just don't think that's true.
Wow, that's so good. I mean, there's so many concepts. Like I feel like this could be a podcast like marathon. We could do like the next like 7 off of these concepts, Gabe. Because I mean, I think this is like really we're unpacking what it looks like to go to the next level in your life. I think a lot of times they're chasing the next, there, right? And we've talked about this quite a bit, Brian, where it's like you're always like chasing joy and fulfillment and excitement and all that stuff. It's always in the distance, because even once you get there becomes here. Now you're chasing the next there. And you're always wondering when something else is going to fulfill, and it just doesn't. Yeah. But I feel like the question is like, okay, I get that concept, but then why do I not feel good ever? Or why do I not feel like, because I think some people, when they should be feeling good, they're not feeling good because their perception's off. Right. So they're hyper-focused on the bad, and they bring the bad even to those moments that should be good, if that makes sense. Like when they should be celebrating a good victory and seeing God work, they're so hyper-focused on they should be doing something more, or my life doesn't really matter, or I'm not positioned where I should be. I should be further ahead. Look at that person. And so they really miss out on the good, and I feel like they live this life of quiet desperation where God's really brought great things out, but they can't even see it. It's just clouded by by this misinterpretation of really what they should be doing. And what you're saying, I think, is gold for anybody that's watching this today that believes that their life is not where it needs to be or should be. Is, are you stewarding your day with your whole heart and feeling good about where you're currently at and what you're doing today? Because if you're not, I don't believe God's going to open up the door to bless you if you're in this situation or state where you think conditions are going to eventually lead to that.
Yeah. And
I think for, what you're talking about, it's like you just knew that, hey, I'm called to steward today. I'm called to be the best I can be today. That's what the biblical principles, like you said, you would go to. And what does Scripture say you should handle this in prayer? And that kind of got you past that feeling of feeling bad about not enjoying it like you enjoyed something in the past. Mm-hmm. And because you did that and you didn't get weary in doing well, because you went back to biblical principles and scriptures that kind of gave you some strength, gave you some encouragement to say, yeah, I don't see it yet. Yeah, I don't feel it yet. But I'm going to keep sowing. I'm going to keep putting in. I'm going to keep doing what I know I'm called to do. And then God never fails. Yeah. The problem is, I think it's almost maybe a trust issue, Brandon, like where people, and I say people like me, or you trust, like you don't trust that this is going to ever produce fruit. Yeah. So then I get worried in doing well because, like, is it really going to be used somehow good? Is there really? And then only in hindsight does it, and I love that statement. I never heard that, but like in hindsight, it was like, oh yeah, it transitioned so easily and perfect. And it wasn't even long blocks of time. Yeah. But in the moment, it seemed like forever. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah. It's like,
I mean, it felt like, it feels like forever, but it's not. And I mean, here's the thing too, like what you said is something I've fought in my life where I honestly, and it almost sounds bad to say, because it's the wrong, as it comes out of your mouth, it's the wrong thing to say, where it's like, I don't know if I trust that God has what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, am I really going to enjoy this? But then where I take that feeling is, like, obviously, I want to model my life as much as possible after Jesus Christ. And when you look at Christ's life, the Bible makes some crazy statements about Jesus, said he was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. And now no one looks at Jesus' life and says that any step of it was wrong. Well, some horrible things happened in Christ's life. Like, he was obviously ended with him being crucified before he was resurrected. And it's like, I always thought whatever God has in store for me, whether or not it's periods of joy or periods of sorrow like Christ, it's all going to be worth it. Like, I really trust it. Let's say my faith is so big because I come at it with the mindset that it actually might not feel worth it in this life. And I've been pleasantly surprised consistently. And obviously I'm not, hopefully, anywhere near the end of my life. But I've always been pleasantly surprised that God is constantly, like, feels like a reward, just being like, oh, you're going to be really happy right now, which has been pretty cool because I've been going at it like I'm prepared not to be. Like, I was like, well, if this is what, because during those years, even though I questioned whether or not this was going to make me happy, I never questioned whether or not it was the right thing for me to be doing. I was like, I feel like this is what God wants me to be doing. Now, I was like, if this is going to make me happy, I don't know. But I wanted to live a life of purpose, not necessarily chasing happiness.
That's so good. I think there's a principle that we all know that's like, he who is faithful with little will be faithful with much, right? And so many of us in moments of our life feel like we have just the little. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be faithful with this, but will I ever actually get the much? It's like, do I believe God's ever going to give me the much? And so I think what happens is when people don't see the harvest coming yet, they quit watering the seed, right? And so I think what you've been able to do, which is a great sign of maturity, is to say, hey, let me be faithful with just this one day, and I'm always going to believe God for the more, right? But I'm going to steward what he's given me well today. And you've been able to see the harvest, the fruit, the abundance of God standing on his word, and now life is blessed. So you're like, man, I'm thankful that, man, I'm not in the little all the time. Like, God has actually blessed me, because it takes, like what you just said, like maybe I'm not going to see the goodness of it in this life. Yeah. And that's a real sign of maturity to go, all right, God, well, I'm going to believe you, even though I don't see it right now. But I'm going to believe maybe like David, I'm going to do my part, but it may not be for me to build the palace.
Yeah,
it might be for my kids,
yeah,
or their kids. You know what I mean? And so I just think it's really cool that you've seen both, that you've been faithful and you've seen the harvest, you've seen the abundance, you've seen the good things that God has done. But also it takes not only faith but works.
Yeah,
right. Because faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
And so you didn't just have the faith, but you also, because I think a lot of people, they have the faith, I believe God's going to do this, but then they don't have the discipline to actually do what they're supposed to do in the day.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, something that goes right along with what you're saying is a principle that I got sold on when I was a teenager, which I heard a couple different pastors, and I'm sure many pastors all around the country say this. But
we all steal from each other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, if you really make God's things your concern, I've heard this said like 10,000 different ways. Like if you care about God's big world, he'll care about your little world. If you put God's things first, he'll consider you. I think one of the reasons that I had so much assurity in that what I was doing was God's will is I always tried to make sure that I knew that the things that were important to Christ, like the gospel, getting that out, were a central part of what I was doing.
Yep.
And that gave me such an assurity that this is the path that I need to take. And I feel like that just has paid dividends in ways that I couldn't even, because there's things that, no matter how much money you make, and I think we've all met people who make a lot of money but are miserable.
Yeah.
There's things that just money can't buy, like peace, like just like joy in what you're doing, not just being happy, but actually having man, what I'm doing is really making a difference. And those are things that only God can give. So I've always wanted to make sure I'm putting myself in a position to get those things.
Well, it's so funny. Like some things you don't have to pray for.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do I have to work hard? It's like, I don't think you have to pray about working hard.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to pray about
Right.
loving people, sharing the gospel. Like these things are very clear.
Right.
So if you just be faithful with the things and the principles that God's already given you, then God's going to reward you for your obedience. Mm-hmm. And I think so many people just get stuck between like, well, is it actually going to work out? And what if it doesn't work out? Or what if and so I just think to hear you sharing your story is such, I think people listening are taking away so much gold that, man, if I could just be faithful with God it's given me, be so sure that I'm going after the things of God and God's going to work it out for my good and his glory, then everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I just love your heart, man. I think so many people, because you said it's not about the money or how big the business is, because you can be rich and miserable.
Yeah.
Right. We've all clearly seen that before. And so, man, there's no point in building a big business if it doesn't have a big purpose.
Yeah.
So maybe talk about that transition as you've built Pinnacle over the last maybe 4 years. Talk about that, because I'm unfamiliar with the story of Pinnacle and kind of how it got started. So maybe talk about, as we transition into maybe franchise a little bit in money, talk about the story of Pinnacle, how it, you don't have to give me all the details, but just kind of where it's at now, what you guys are doing, and maybe go back to, God began your recruiting days back in college. Talk about how that's paid off now and how massive of a business it really is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a really cool blessing from God too, because I mean, what Pinnacle is now, we have, somewhere around 4,000 agents nationwide this year. Between all lines of business, we'll do well over 9 figures of business between life, health, annuities. Going back to the story I told you about that inner city youth ministry where you would recruit people, those people that I met during that inner city youth ministry in my time in college would become the foundation of our company today. Because I did direct sales all through college, and that's actually where I met our business partner, Joe Basso, one of my closest friends. My first sales job ever. We were working in Southside Chicago, Chicagoland, selling newspapers of all things.
Go.
And that's where we met.
Digital or paper?
Paper. Because you don't get, I'll pitch on it right now. You don't get the coupons?
You got your script
Dude,
memorized?
yeah. Back then, people didn't want to be there. And that's why they were paying us to sell it. But, and then, people that I would bring in on that youth program that, I met helping them, like, they're literally moving their stuff into college. I'm like, hey, Gabe, let me move you in. Hey, this weekend, come visit this youth program that we do. We're gonna have a great time. Da 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 da. And those guys are our managers, our our COO, are like all these people in our company.
That's awesome.
Some of the most influential, like our top writer, like. It's crazy to think about. I had zero idea that any of that was going to happen. I had every expectation. Like I was a broke college student. I have every expectation to be a broke missionary, in West Africa or somewhere. But like I said, I just felt like that was the right thing to do in the moment. And then when I got into insurance, into the broker space, I think my eyes were open. I'd never, in almost 10 years of door-to-door, that I've been doing that to support myself the whole time, I don't think I ever brought a friend in to what I was doing. Yeah. And then I just saw how great the space would be. And I'm like, man, this just makes so much sense because, like, me helping, if I recruit Paul, me helping Paul helps me. Like, this is, it's like basically the ministry that I was doing, where I bring in a worker and, like, I want to help them help other people.
Right.
It felt so similar. So it was so easy. Like I called everybody that I thought might be good at this and just let them tell me yes or no. And then those people came in. A weird thing happened. You talk about leveling up. Because at that point in my life, 2020 was probably one of the single biggest years of growth that I'd ever experienced in my life because I brought in all these folks and now I realized I was responsible like on a higher level, like, oh, these guys have mortgages.
Right.
They have kids. Like they're the main income. Like I told you, my best friend leaving his job, he's been doing for a couple of years to go full-time insurance to support his 2 kids, one he just had. He's an assistant pastor where he went to college. His wife, like she takes care of the kid. Like
it's real now.
Dude, it's real. And so I realized, I was like, I need to personally grow to make sure that I don't let down all these people. And that just like skyrocketed me in personal, like I worked way harder for those people than I ever would have worked just for myself. Way harder. Like, because I'll be honest, I grew up my life not having a lot of money in the inner city. I'm in, you can imagine how broke a normal college student is. You talk about a Bible college student. That's a little. That's another run down. And now I have $10,000 in my bank account.
Right.
I never had that kind of money to myself before. Like, dude, I'm good. Like, but I wasn't working for the money in my bank account. I'm working because my best friend has to pay his mortgage and support his family. And dude, that it pushed me to levels I didn't even know.
Right.
It's almost like you have weight on the rack and you're just pushing to do whatever. And then the weight, you realize, oh, there's no one around and this is coming to kill me. Like you find something deep inside, like another level of strength. I feel like that's what I found that year and that propelled me, and I've been growing, I'd like to think perpetually since then, but that propelled me into the growth that I continue to have today.
Dude, there's so much good stuff in that too. I mean, Gabe, like, I don't have enough time to like unpack all these things. Like, you get done speaking, and in my mind, I got like 12 things. So I started taking notes because I'm like, I got to go back and think about these things after we're done talking about these things. But like, I think about like almost like positioning yourself to level up. I mean, like maybe that's the catalyst for somebody on here today. I'm thinking about myself, like, how can I better position myself where it almost pressures myself or forces myself or empowers myself to go to the next level. And a lot of times, I mean, that's what you're talking about with recruiting and really having a heart for people. It was like, okay, it's not about the money. I got to make sure I help my buddy succeed. He's got a family. Like, I now have given up the right to be average and ordinary. I can't just remain the same.
Yeah.
Me remaining the same, it's almost like when remaining the same doesn't just hurt you, but it hurts those around you. But when you level up, it doesn't just bless you, but it blesses those around you. It's like a huge shift. One, it's like you're getting hurt and you're compounding the negative. You're hurting others because you're not growing. And then you have this complete swing where if you're growing, you're actually helping others grow.
Yeah.
So you go from a life of like like regret and feeling terrible because you're hurting people, to a life of significance because it's not even just success of you winning, but you've also helped others win.
Yeah.
Like, what a shift of position.
Well, you know what I realized, like speaking to that and just being transparent here for a second, I realized how selfish I was in that year. Because I think I had this thing that because my life up to that point for over a decade had been all about ministry and helping other people, that my goals were bigger and more important than everyone else. I was like, well, yeah, your goal might be this, but look, dude, I'm doing this to help all these people. So like my dreams are more important than yours. Like I don't think I ever would have said that, and I don't think I even really thought that, but I felt that way. And then when I started having all these people that were like dependent, I realized, dude, how long has this been like the Gabe show? Like in my own head, like why are my dreams more important than this guy wants to just provide for his family and do something for them that they've never seen before? And I think that like woke me up, like, because that required also a level of growth. Like I can't, if my life is only about my dreams, like there's going to be so many more people that I can't help, because you can't hide that either. Like people know when you only care about your stuff. Like, but when people know that, oh, like we can hitch our dreams together, like we both care about this stuff, well then that's a whole nother level.
I think it's when you really start to care about people.
Yeah.
Like when you truly get your eyes off of yourself, you begin to see, man, there's a whole nother world of ideas and dreams. And like, man, that guy's dream to buy his first house and take care of his family is just as important as my dream to build this massive company.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, if I'm only thinking about me and what I can get out of it, I miss his dream. Yeah. Right. Or I miss, this guy's dream of putting his kids through college, or this lady's dream of providing for her kids. Like, man, everyone has a unique purpose and design and giftings and things that they're called to accomplish. But if I can get my eyes off me for a second, because I think we all kind of do that for a season or for a time. It's like, we think everything revolves around us, especially being in a position of leadership. Yeah. It's easy to get just caught in your own ego. Yeah. And so for me, that's like constantly thinking, man, this is not about me. Yeah. Like this church is not about me. This business is not about me.
You know what really made that click for me is a friend of mine, Jared. He's a pastor there in Indiana now of a church, and but this time he was just like my youth group leader, or young adult leader, and we were doing a Bible study on the life of Christ. And we're talking about Christ's ministry. Now, of course, the reason that Jesus Christ came to earth was to pay for our sins and to have the gospel spread. But it's really interesting, and this was the point he made, that around this same transition, my time really like clicked things for me. Because obviously nothing else is more important than that mission. Right. Jesus Christ could certainly be like, my mission is so much more important than everything you got going on. Right. Yeah. But you look at his ministry, and it was all about bringing healing and life to other people. Yeah. Like, and many times he would come and just heal people all day. Didn't even say that he preached the gospel. Now he is the gospel. Yeah. He was a living example. But here he is giving himself to other people, making himself whatever their care was. Right. He's doing that, and I'm like, okay, if Jesus is doing that, my mission definitely isn't bigger than his. My mission is his mission, and so I cannot be any different. Like I got to make myself care, like, be just as concerned with other people's dreams. That's
so good. Yeah, I mean, even as you're speaking, I'm thinking like, it didn't have to take 3 years of earthly ministry for him to get his mission done, but it took that long because it was on purpose, because he was caring for people. Yeah, so he was healing people and blessing people and raising the dead, right? And so it's like, for us, if he can get his eyes on other people, then how much more do we need to get our eyes on other people? Yeah. Right? It's like, then there's nothing more important than what he was here to do. And yet sometimes we get caught up in our own little world and forget about all the people that we're called to serve. Yeah. That's so good. I love it.
Man. What a powerful podcast. Yeah. I got a couple thoughts like that I'm thinking of. It's like Gabe, when I think of you, it's like, I think of like when you see a need, you feel it, right? Like if we could just leave today with that challenge, like have eyes to see, like walk through the hall slowly, pay attention. Like it's all around us. And so what's one sign that I look at myself and realize, am I going through a season where my eyes are more on me than they should be? Because that's not just like a time of life and then it's gone. It shows back up all the time.
Right.
Like it might be gone for 3 months and all of a sudden you get sucked back unintentionally back into your eyes, now looking back on you for a period of time. I feel like when your eyes are on Christ consistently and you have good spiritual disciplines, it's harder for that to happen, but it can still happen.
Yeah.
But when we are walking through the day and we're saying, I don't see a lot of need. Well, you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere. And I'm thinking about that today, like the seasons of my life where I feel like there was a lot more needs that I was feeling. I don't think that there was more needs, dude.
Yeah.
I think I was just looking for it more.
Yeah.
It's always there.
Yeah.
There's always a conversation I could have. There's always a situation I could step into where there's a need and God wants me to go in and be an example of him in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the revelation I've got listening to today is like, man, if there's a need, let's fill it. And let's look for the need so we can fill it.
Very good.
That, speaking to your audience, you remind me of an interaction I had with one of my best friends, David. We actually were visiting that very first orphanage. And he's not in the insurance business. He hasn't like real estate. And now he's a full-time assistant pastor. But we were coming back. We had a great time there, visiting the orphanage there for like a week. And just a stellar time. I could tell he was having an awesome time. And we're coming back and we're getting our luggage off the thing. And I see him. He's like emotional. And this is like a real man's man. Like you don't see him get emotional. Or I don't think I've ever seen him cry. And he's like crying. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, are you okay? It's like, and he takes a couple like seconds to articulate it. And he's like, dude, he's like, I just see this with the orphanage and the impact that you've had. And I feel bad because I don't have that same mission in my life. And I told him, I was like, David, I don't know what you think. Like, if like a light came down from heaven, it's like, oh, yeah. And like, it was like, start orphanages. And like, dude, I just was following God's path, and I just felt like this was the greatest thing I could do. And I just pursued it until God changed it. And I was like, you need to look at your life and just take a look. And just what do you feel like is the most important thing you could be doing that you could, and then just do that thing.
Very good.
And now he's in full-time ministry. What he wasn't at the time, and now he is, and he's having the best time of his life. And obviously wasn't my lesson. That was God, something God gave me. I gave back to him. And but that's exactly what I think of when you're talking about that, because I think so many people feel a little bit directionless. And they feel like a mission is like given to them. But truly, like missions are like kind of chosen. Like God definitely opens, like if you pray about it, he'll make things more apparent. But you just choose. And down that path you find, like I said, so one of the reasons, not to go too long, but just to give a little more clarity, why I had such an identity crisis. A master's is supposed to take 6 years. It took me 8. And then at the time, the whole time I'm like, I'm going to go to Ghana, West Africa to be a missionary. I went, and then I decided that I wasn't supposed to be a missionary. I give in all those years. And now, and like, I remember thinking, dude, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? Dude, especially started getting into insurance. Like, oh, Gabe cares about money now. Like, Gabe was all ministry, and now he's all money. Like, all these things. But I just pursued that thing to the utmost level until God showed me the next thing. And I just kept following that path. So don't be scared to like follow what's right in front of your face and do what you feel like is the biggest thing, because it's going to lead to that next thing.
So good, man. I mean, it's like literally like 17 different podcasts we can cut from every time you say something. I'm like, dude, we can go down that for 30 minutes. Just like even like the comparison and caring what others think, and this need to please others that really steals from you what God's calling you to do in the moment. Like God doesn't call you to wonder what they think about you. Like we should only be concerned about what God thinks about us. And I just remember I saw this quote, and I forget exactly how it was worded, but it was basically like, if we realized how quickly people forgot about us and what we've done after we pass away, we only concern ourselves with doing the things that matter to God.
Right.
And the guy that wrote it, ironically, I forget his name, but he was like the most like known person in the world, like this minister pastor, like back in like the 1800s. And it's like nobody knows, like you wouldn't, nobody know, but he was the most famous. So it's like so ironic like that. It's the quote, right?
Yeah.
Where it just really hits hard because it's the quote, and it's the guy that wrote it that was the most famous. Like if you look at what he did in that time, it's unbelievable, and you don't know him.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we concerning ourselves with that? Let's just concern ourselves with doing all we could do today to go and be hands and feet of Christ, be salt and light. And I absolutely love that. And the one last thought I want to put out, because I feel like it's been really sprinkled throughout this whole podcast, is like, for anybody that's wondering, like, is it wasted years? Mm-hmm. Was it wasted moments? Was it wasted time? Did I waste certain things? And almost feeling this like sense of regret or like shame, or just like, man, I don't know if I'll rebound. Like, if it didn't work out for you, if the Masters didn't work out, if going to Ghana didn't work out for you, God will work in what didn't work out. Mm-hmm. When you seek Him. He'll work it into your story, and your story will be even better than you could have imagined.
Yeah.
Because you're trusting Him to write it for you. And you're going to just go put your feet to your faith every day and serve the day that's before you, what God's got before you. He'll open up the doors. He'll work it in for you. And I really think, this is a great, I believe, like example of what the difference is between joy and enjoy. Mm-hmm. I think nowadays we're always chasing what we enjoy. And it goes back to the feelings of 33% good, 30%. Like, we're always chasing these good feelings of joy, like, or what we enjoy. And I feel like that's the deception.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy watching a football game on Sunday. I enjoy eating a great steak. Mm-hmm. I enjoy going golfing on Fridays. I enjoy those things. But my joy is not those things. My joy is found in serving my day and doing what I can to be hands and feet of Christ, to go out and give it with my whole heart. Like Brand said, like, serve as if I'm serving not human masters, but God, that He's the one in control. And that's where my joy is always found. That's where I always feel the most fulfilled, is doing those things, not the things that are enjoyable.
Yeah.
But if we're always chasing what we enjoy, we're never going to have true joy.
Yeah.
And so, man, what a podcast, dude. I mean, this is one that I will legitimately watch back, take notes, and there'll be 17 podcasts that me and Brand talk about that are spurred from this podcast. So, man, thank you so much, guys. I don't even have to tell you to share this. In fact, if you share this, if you don't share it, I want you to unsubscribe, because you're not a part of our community.
Gabe, are you on Instagram, YouTube,
I am.
all the stuff? Mm-hmm. What's your handle?
It's Gabriel Erickson Sing.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
What a podcast.
Great to meet you,
and guys,
man.
follow Gabe's story. I mean, you'll see the stuff he's doing, and with the missions, the orphanages. You've got another one getting ready to launch. That's the 7th one. Mm-hmm. And so, guys, make sure to share this, subscribe. We love you. Make it a massive week, and let's go crush it. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you next week. God bless you guys.